Hello, so in this video we will discuss Vim bindings and we will discuss them in a useful context so that you also learn to do something useful. And what is useful? Well, in this case, imagine you are inside of a project. So as you can see, I went inside of a directory which contains an Haskell project. And if you want to open a project in Vim, you just type nvim and the dot opens the project. Now Ranger comes up, which is a file browser, and this is because I have a plugin. But if you do not have any customized plugin, netwr will come in, which is Vim's file manager. But a file manager will come up if you type it like this, and now the project is open inside Vim, and you can do like a lot of things. Now I can't enter this file because I already have it open like in a separate window, and you can, so let's go in again. You can open files, you can go back, you can open other files, you can fuzzy search files, which just means like searching for files in a fuzzy finder, which is this bar in which I can search for things. Like imagine I want to add a package. I know there's a package file inside of every stack Haskell project, so I just type package and here I am inside of the file. So you can do stuff like this and you're all happy and you just do things, but you suddenly need a terminal. So you could open a terminal with the binding that is designated to opening a terminal in your window manager. I use xmonad as my window manager, and you might have a graphical window manager, which is different. It's not tiled, so it's less like what you usually find around. If you have something like that, then you would still have a binding like brings up the terminal. So, but when you bring up a terminal with your default binding, what you see is your home directory. So you're not inside of the project. That's what I mean. So imagine like that was the wrong key. So imagine like I am inside of the test folder, which is this, and I want to test. So normally I would, I just closed it. Let's go back. This is just for simulating the tediousness that we're going to solve. No, I'm just kidding. I just get it wrong. So test, you go inside, you have your tests. You want to test, you want to run the tests. You do this in a stack project by running stack test. But you cannot, if I run stack test in my home directory, it doesn't work. You need to run stack test inside of the project's directory, which is of course the same thing. As you can see, if you use the pw command in Vim, it will tell you the current working directory, and mine is this. So you need to go inside, and going inside requires time. You need to bring up the terminal, then you go in code, then you go inside of real Java, and now you can write stack test, and it will probably fail because I like refactored the code. Yeah, so it fails, but that's the idea. So what if I wanted to have a binding that lets me bring up the terminal in the current working directory, so that I can then just do like terminal stack test, all right, it works, go away. So I happen to have a binding that does exactly that in Vim, and as you can see, it brings up the terminal in my current working directory. You can see it here, okay? So I will explain how to make this binding. So first go to your vimrc file, and if you do not know how to find it, just look it up. I have a command which lets me go into my vimrc file automatically, because of course you can, even editing my vimrc file has to be optimized. So I have a section on terminal, and in my terminal section I have useful bindings for bringing up terminals. I use neovim, so I have the built-in terminal, which I can bring up like this. The built-in terminal is just a normal terminal, but sometimes I don't like it to have in Vim. For some reason I like to have it like outside. So the binding that brings up the terminal as a separate program in my window manager is this leader TP. So let's explain how this works. First of all, N stands for normal. Vim has separate modes to operate in. If you do not know this, then maybe this video is not for you. First, learn how to use Vim. I recommend using Vim tutor. You can just use the command. Oh, no, I guess you can't just tutor. No, okay, so just look up Vim tutor and do that before you watch this video. Then come back here, then learn about bindings, I guess. Alright, so N stands for normal mode, so this binding will take place in normal mode, and this is just a command. vimrc stands for vim run commands and is a file filled with vim commands that you can run with the colon character right here, such as echo is a vim command. You can echo hello there, you can do that. And these are all commands that are ran when you start up Vim. This is a very recurrent pattern in Unix, so it's not just Vim that does this. There are a lot of programs that do this. So this particular command is for key bindings, custom key bindings. So N stands for normal mode, so this binding will take effect in normal mode. No stands for no. Re stands for recursive. No recursive. What does it mean? You do not care about it, just put it in every binding that there is. Vim script, which is the language you use when you run Vim commands, is very dated. It is also very old, so it has lots of niche things that are not well designed. One of those things is that you just need to put this everywhere. In practice, it just means that your bindings do not bind recursively. If that doesn't make sense, it's okay. Just put no recursive everywhere. Trust me. And then there's map, which stands for map. Ideally it would be nmap, but just put nori because you need to put it, otherwise you will run into problems. Then you put the key binding that you want to map, and then you put what is executed when that key binding is pressed. So my key binding uses the leader character, but that's advanced, so let's just say that I use the accented O because I am Italian and I have the freaking accented O like on my home row, and I have to find a way to use it, so it is my leader character, which just means, like, basically simplifying, it's a key that you use for all of your leader commands which you choose. So yeah, it's just the key you use often. In my case, it's the O. If you look down here, you will see the accented O, which means that I have pressed it. If I now press T and I press P, there you go, the binding takes effect. So as you can see, I pressed my leader character, I then pressed T, and I then pressed P. Now, what does this actually mean? This is very literal, very like direct. This is exactly what is. It's like when you press this, it is substituted by this key combination, like directly. So it is as if I typed this in my Vim. So I could put something else. I could put like, I don't know, like DD, which stands for delete line. So if I now save which I will not save because, well, I can. So if I now source my current file, that's normal, don't worry about that. And I open something else, as you can see right now, if I want to delete this and I type O, look here, OTP, oh, that's embarrassing. So I guess I need to update it in other ways. Yeah, but ideally what would have happened there is that the line would be deleted because DD would be run, I don't know. Anyways, let's just say, wait a minute, I'm getting into trouble. I am getting into trouble. I am unable to explain things and do them at the same time. Let's open a file, let's go to VRC, okay. So, as I was saying, yeah, so let's now explain what this is. So it's as if you've pressed it. So you will also learn about this, I guess. So, but it's very easy if you know Linux, because it's just a Linux command. In Vim, if you type the colon, you enter command mode, as I showed you before. And if you type :bang, you enter Unix command mode, which just lets you use Unix commands. Echo also happens to be a Unix command, but now I'm using the Unix command. And I should stop say Unix and say GNU, but who even cares, So, here then, I expand an environmental variable, which is called terminal, okay? So my environmental variable terminal can be expanded like so. And why do you not see that now? Okay, and it expands to my terminal program. So this is not default behavior. You need to edit your environment file, you could search on the Arch wiki how to do that. It's a very good resource, I recommend it. And you can edit your environmental file, but if you wanted to, if you do not care about it now, you can just put your program here, and this would also work, okay? Because this is a program I have installed. So if I use the bang character, I can just run any program I have installed. So yeah, just run. It will run. But in my case, I wanted to keep it, universal. So I just put my terminal because I might change terminal, and that's actually not very good because this is like specific to my terminal. But this command is actually just GNU command, Linux command. If I run that, this happens. If I happen to run this in a terminal like this, just as it is written, as you can see, a new terminal has been brought up, and pwd is an environmental variable which contains your working directory, as you can see here. So, and this just is an option which is specific to Alacrity, which is my terminal emulator program, and it just tells Alacrity to start at this. Okay. If you want to find out how to do it with your terminal emulator, you can use man. I recommend using man. In my case, I just went to Alacrity, typed man here, and I searched for, you can use / to search just as in Vim, in man, and I searched for directory, and there you go. Lo and behold, it was the first result to come up because I wanted to let it start in the current directory, so I searched for directory. This is basically your Google foo skills, and yeah. So that's it. That's how Vim bindings work. And how about this? Well, this is the last thing I haven't told you. If we wouldn't put this, the program will be ran on the same thread in which Vim is running. So let's demonstrate that. So let's yank until the carriage return, and let's paste it here. As you can see, I have now pasted the command. So if I run this without the ampersand, there you go. As you can see, it also works, but now Vim is completely blocked because the thread which used to host Vim now hosts this terminal here. Once I exit, Vim is free, and for some reason it recorded everything that I typed. That's interesting, but that's not important. So what do you need to do to put it on a separate thread? You use this command, which is also a Linux thing. Just use it, and it puts it on a different thread, and it eliminates the problem that I was talking about. So yeah, this is basically it. This is how you use Vim bindings. This is how you bring up terminals in Linux, and it's also how you optimize your workflow. You should always strive to optimize your workflow because, I don't know, it's just an excuse to have some fun. Goodbye.